Present existence greatest goals. Should you fail at first, do not give up. Actually, that's a very nice one, quick and short. And just the other one here as well on the other page. So, people who hold grudges, gather moral filth, and subsequently end up getting sick. You should not suffer because of wrongs done to you. If someone wants you to be unhappy, live joyfully instead. If someone wants to throw you off balance, remain stable. If an adversary plots to bring you down, keep your inner peace. The greatest pain for those who seek to make others unhappy is to see them unfazed by it. Be smart. Don't wear yourself out pointlessly. Very good practical. Okay, so Mother, Father God, Divine Creator, thank you very much for this opportunity, for this moment of gathering. May your divine inspiration come to all of us and to Renato as he shared with us a few words this morning. Thank you very much to our mentors and guides, to our guardian angels, as we call them, those that are closest to our life, and above all to our Master Jesus, the model, the example, the humble one, in his guidance to all of us, the human beings of earth. And with that in mind, we humbly ask permission to open our Sunday meeting this morning. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, good morning to everyone, and we'll welcome you here to our Sunday, which is a Sunday to feel the little bit cold, the weather outside, but still pretty. Still pretty. We can feel the love of Jesus within us. And we welcome also those that they're going to be joining us through the media, and those that they're coming from the spiritual realm as well. And today's topic, this is actually the second time I am talking about this. And I'm pretty sure if I can do a third talk about the same subject, same theme, it will become different. This time I read it again, and then I had totally different inspirations on it. The title is somewhat unusual, and it says, "Blessed are those who have their eyes closed." Blessed are those who have their eyes closed. Then when I read it, I started thinking about, well, do we have to be blind to be better, or what? Or what is it talking about? Till now that I was pondering on it, and this was actually a communication from that was giving about a blind person from whom the spirit of J.B. Vianney, which was a parish priest of ours, he had been evoked, and this is what he said: "Blessed are those who have their eyes closed." And then when he said, "Dear friends, you have called me." Why? Is it to make me lay hands on the poor distressed person who is here and heal her? Oh, what a suffering good God! she has lost her sight, and darkness has been on her. Poor child, let her pray and hope. I do not know how to work miracles, me, without the will of the good God. And he continues saying, all the cures that I have been able to obtain and which have been reported to you, attribute them only to God, which is parent to all. And then he goes and saying, in your afflictions, therefore, always look up to heaven and say from the bottom of your heart, O God, heal me. But let my sick soul be healed before the infirmities of my body. May my flesh be chastised, if necessary, so that my soul may rise to you with the whiteness it had when you created. So we come to this world clean, but through our trials and bumps and things that we encounter along our physical life, we start getting a little bit spotted. Sometimes we just go dive into the mud. And that's why he's saying these things. And then he continues on saying, the Spiritist is telling them, but since I'm here, in assembly devoted above all studying, I will tell you that those who are deprived of sight should consider themselves blessed in their atonement. And remember what Christ said, that you need to pluck your eye out if it was a cause of evil. And that it was better that it be thrown into the fire than be the cause of your damnation. And then he says, alas, how many on earth will one day curse in darkness for having seen the light? So I guess nobody. I remember that my younger sister, she was diabetic, and then they called me because she was losing sight in one. She was losing her sight in one eye, and I said, "How has that happened, or why?" Well, there's a condition that you get glaucoma, which increases the pressure inside of your eyeballs, and that compresses the optic nerve and can cause to lose your sight. So she did that, and I felt bad about it. And continue what this priest was talking. He says, oh yes, how happy are those who in their atonement are struck in the eyesight. Their eyes will no longer be a subject of a scandal and fall. They can live entirely in the life of souls, that they can see more than who can see clearly. And I start reflecting into myself this, what I've been experiencing since I start attending this place, this spiritual place. And have you guys noticed that when you pray, do you pray with your eyes open? Not really, huh? But why? Why do we close our eyes when we're praying?
To be focused?
Yes. What do you think? Why do we close your eyes when we're praying? And I would like to invite you that when you meditate, and we also meditate with our eyes closed, notice that you will not be in darkness. Things will start showing up. And it's interesting because not too many people, they do that. Sometimes in our busy lives, out there, whether working, carrying, whatever you do out there, we forget to take 5 minutes of our 24-hour endeavor that we do every day to meditate, to think about the things that you have learned at the end of the day. And how is it possible? Because I have said before that it is not really the eyes that they see. It is not really the brain that it thinks. And I have something to tell you about it because I can back it up. I have spoken before about the people that they call it night walkers. These people, they do functions, so they do things, and they have their eyes closed, and they can go and do things around their houses or wherever they are sleeping. They have their eyes, they're not really open because they're sleeping supposedly, and they do not trip on things. They do not fall. They can even come back and rest again. And people, they get surprised. So then, if they have their eyes closed, how can they see? Another thing is that the fact that when we're dreaming, how can we see things without eyes? We're not using our eyes. We're supposed to be with our eyes closed, resting completely, right? But we can see things. We can do things while we're dreaming. Sometimes we might say, well, I had a very weird dream last night. Weird in that sense. It's real. Because we are continually living. Another thing that we can know about seeing with our eyes closed is the fact that how does spirits, they can see if they already have no physical with them. It's just pure spirit. They will no longer will have eyes. They will no longer have vocal cords. They communicate with us, with people. This priest, he was called in and he started communicating, but his body was no longer with him, so he had to use a medium to communicate. Now, how is the fact that he's seeing the people that they were gathering when he had no eyes? So we really have to really think seriously about the spirit. Everything resides in the spirit. The spirit does it all. The spirit lives forever. So for the spirit, the death word does not exist to the spirit. Will continue living forever, which is great. Obviously, we know our biochemical composition in our human bodies, it will will be degraded into the ground again and biotransform again. So it's interesting that we can still see without the eyes. I can tell you that if we do not open our eyes, we won't be able to criticize people. We won't be able to get mad as fast as we do. We won't be able to get discouraged if we see something we don't like. But if you have your eyes closed, then nothing will bother you. Really, you're using other senses, like the hearing, touching, which is another sense. And it's a totally complete different world, living with our eyes closed. I'd like to invite you to start seeing things with your eyes closed. And it's amazing what you're going to see. I'm pretty sure you have experienced nice experiences, basically, when you do that. When somebody lose their eyesight, their eyes will no longer be a subject of a scandal and fall. They can live entirely in the life of souls, and they can see more than you who can see clearly. When God allows me to go and restore eyesight to some of these poor sufferers and give them back the light, I say to myself, this is the priest talking, "Dear soul, why do you ignore all the delights of the Spirit that lives in contemplation and love? Would you not ask to see images that are less pure and less sweet than those that you have seen in your blindness?" Yes, indeed. Blessed is the blind person who wants to live with God. Happier than you who are here. He or she can feel happiness. She can feel happiness. Touch it. See other souls and soar with them in spiritual spheres that the predestined people of your very land cannot see. My friends, there's a whole universe out there that we cannot see with the type of eyesight we are carrying it right now with us. If I tell you on that table there's bacteria there, you may ask me, why are you telling me this, that there's something in there that I cannot see? And that doesn't mean that we're blind. That means we don't have the device to amplify that bacteria and see it, because it's actually kind of invisible to us. Same thing happens with the spiritual world. We cannot see the spirits generally, but we know they're present, and we know we can sense them, we can feel them. We can feel our families that they have already departed and they are in the spiritual world. Sometimes we might be able to see them. If we don't see them when we're awake, we might be able to see them when we're sleeping. There's no question about that. Now he says something very interesting to me. He says, "The open eye is always ready to make the soul tumble. The closed eye, on the contrary, is always ready to bring up to God." And he says, "Believe me, my dear good friends, blindness of the eyes is often the true light of the heart. Blindness is the true light of the heart, while sight may often be the dark angel that leads to my death. Recently, they have made so many discoveries with the James Webb telescope. Beautiful images of the universe, or portions of the universe that we've never seen before. And that, then I wonder, what else there is out there that we still cannot see yet? What are all those things that we will see in the near future? But even though we see those things there, we know they exist, are we going to be able to comprehend what exactly do they mean? What are they composed of? I know we want to go to Mars, because there's going to be a special thing if we go to Mars. It's going to be difficult, I know. But who knows, maybe pretty soon we might be capable of going there, perhaps live there, have a better life than in here, hopefully. Don't you guys think sometimes that you're thinking inside of your mind, I want to go away, far away, away from all these problems that I'm having right now, away from all these people that are tormenting me, away of my situation, away from my debts, away from my trials. We all want to do that. Well, one of the things that I recommend as a recipe, just close your eyes and get away from everything is bothering you. And always look up to God for your tribulations. With our eyesight, we cannot see God. But we might be able to see Him with our spiritual eyes, which they are more powerful. Because what is the brain and what is our eyes? They're just transmitters. They're receptors. They transmit the light that we see. We can see actually physical objects because of the light. But when you turn down the light, you can't really see that much. That light is transmitted to the back by the optical nerves to the brain, and the brain goes to connect to the spirit, and the spirit's analyzing everything. By the way, all the images that our eyes see through our lenses, they're registered in the back of our brain upside down. That was very interesting to know. So we're looking at everything, but everything is upside down. How is that possible? How is it possible that something that looks in the back of my brain being upside down, we see that it's straight, it's like that. So there's so many things very strange that we have to know. The knowledge is very, very, very difficult to grasp how vast the knowledge can be. The more knowledge you acquire, the knowledge gets greater. There will be more and more for us to learn. And this priest says, take hope and courage. Because when we have a tribulation or when we have a problem in our lives, the first thing, we isolate ourselves. We want to be by ourselves. rather than all together, which is the creation, we all brothers and sisters, we need to gather. And with all of us, we can come up with a solution to every single one. But what do we do instead when we have a problem? When I talk to, I've seen this expression all the time. When you have a problem in your family and you're a child, the first thing you tell your parents, leave me alone, leave me alone. You isolate yourself. Instead of you coming to them, that you might be mad at them at that time, but go back to them. They will not come with a weapon to punish you. They may tell you things that you may not want to hear, but they're there to help us. Now, if your parents, they do not listen to you, you have another parent up there that you can communicate to him. Say, dear God, you're my father, you're my mother. I have this problem. And you know what he's going to say to you? I already know what you're going through. Because I know you, and I know you because I have created you. He sees the bottom of our hearts, what are really true desires we are encountering. He knows what is best for us. Sometimes we as parents, we may not have the right things to our children or for our children. But we do also as a parents, we need to ask for guidance to Jesus, to God, to our mentors and guides that they're with us all the time. They do not get tired of our silly things that we may ask, but they will whisper us always the best there is for our success, for our happiness. If a person is choking, for instance, like this, because there's a lack of oxygen going through the lungs, then when if there was an obstruction and the obstruction comes out, then goes with a deep breath, feeding again the lungs with power, with life. What happens when we are mad, when we go into a trial? We go like this. We are not breathing normally. Sometimes we hyperventilate, and that does not help for the lungs to be oxygenated or to gather the oxygenation. So, but we do that. No one is telling us, stop breathing or breathe faster. We do it ourselves. If we do all practice instead of isolating, getting isolated, not breathing properly, we can go to a pleasant place, a pleasant place in our home, or any place that you feel comfortable with, and breathe in completely and slowly breathe out completely. That will make you feel 100 times better. That will make you think a lot better. That will make you feel the love of our Father in heaven. Because that's what you're claiming when you take that deep breath in. So, my friends, like this priest said, let's have blindness of the eyes, receiving the true light there is. there for us. And always remember what Jesus told us. He said, I am the light of the world. And I am adding, I am the light of the universe. But not the kind of light that the sun gives to us. It's the light that will make us live. And to live with Him is to acquire happiness. And that type of light is also translated as a knowledge. That type of light has a healing power. And when we do our passes here, what we're doing, just taking that light and project it to somebody else here and cleansing that person. Sometimes there is a turbulence in our minds because we have a big problem. So we need to calm down that turbulence for that person. And you can always do it when you're calm, when you have the light of Christ, and just project it to them. It will not be me if I'm doing that healing. It will be Jesus. I'm just here, I receive and then I transmit. That's just as simple as that. And my friends, may the light of Christ be upon you and all your families. It is my prayer. In His name, amen. Amen.